Good morning, students. In the last session we have studied about the mirror formula and its magnification, and we have solved some interesting problems also. Today we are going to learn very interesting phenomenon. You are all aware of that interesting phenomenon. You know that light travels in straight line in any continuous medium. Like in air, light travels in straight line. Even in the glass also, light travels in straight line. So in general, when light travels in any homogeneous medium or in any continuous medium, it travels in straight line. What happens when the light travels from one transparent medium into another transparent medium? This is the interesting thing. Let us see one simple activity I will show in front of you. I am taking water in a glass and I am going to place pen inside. So this is the water. I am going to keep pen inside the water. What do you find? Do you find some bending of the pen inside the water? This is the pen in the air. Now partially the pen is kept inside the water and I am keeping this pen at certain oblique angle. Then you see at the interface there is appearing to be a displacement of the pen in a different direction. And inside the water, the pen appears to be displaced. So this is one interesting phenomenon which you might have observed. Similarly, if you take any glass slab, if you take a glass slab and if you keep the pencil behind the glass slab and observe from the front, same thing is being observed. At the place where there is an interface between glass surface and the air, you will find the displacement of the pencil in a particular path. Now let us see one more interesting activity. I am taking one object inside the glass. This is lemon. You can see this lemon. I am taking this lemon inside the glass. Okay. This is the lemon taken inside the glass. Now I am going to pour water inside the glass. Just observe what happens. Just go on observing size of the lemon. What do you observe? Size of the lemon appears to be bigger. Why does it happen? Similarly, when you keep coin inside a glass and pour water and observe it from the side, the coin appears to be displaced. The coin appears to be displaced. The bottom of the glass appears to be raised. Even you might have observed the shallow end of your swimming pool. The tiles of the swimming pool appears to be very close. They appear to be very close. So the shallow end appears to be very less depth. But when you jump inside the water, then you will really realize what is its actual depth. So why does it happen so? So answers for all these you are going to find when we study a very interesting phenomenon called as refraction. There are so many natural phenomena taking place in the nature, like the rainbow that you observe having a beautiful arc of 7 colors. It is also due to refraction and another phenomenon called as total internal reflection. The size of the sun in the early morning and just before the sunset appears to be larger than the size of the sun during daytime, that is at noon. Similarly, twinkling of stars, the twinkling of stars, all these interesting phenomena being observed around us. So how do these phenomena occur? So answer for all these we are going to get once we study what is that phenomenon called as refraction. So when a ray of light enters from one transparent medium into another transparent medium, there is a change of path of the light. There is a change of direction of the light inside the another transparent medium. This is why when you place pencil or pen inside the water, you could find the displacement of that pencil at the interface separating water from the air. At the interface separating from the water from the air. Then you keep the pencil inside the water, then you could see the displacement of that pencil inside the water. The rays which are emerging out from the water are not from the same path of the light. If you take that pen in the air there is no question of any displacement, because the light travels with the same speed in the air. But when you keep it inside any transparent medium like water, or any transparent medium behind the glass slab, or even in the kerosene, transparent kerosene, or any other transparent liquid like oil, you will find the displacement of that pencil, because the rays which are coming from that part of the liquid are not from the same path. They appear to be changing their path. So this phenomenon of change of direction of light when it travels from one transparent medium to another transparent medium is called as refraction. Look at this. This is, in simple term, we can call it as bending of light. The bending of light when it travels from one transparent medium to another transparent medium is called as refraction. Suppose this is a glass slab. ABC is a glass slab. If a ray of light falls obliquely means at certain angle with the glass surface, then if you trace this inside the glass, it appears to be bent. If the glass surface would not have been there, it would be traveling straight. It would be traveling the straight path. This would have been the straight path. This is the undeviated path when there is no glass slab. Because of keeping of the glass slab, you will find the ray of light bending. So this phenomenon of change of direction of light when the light travels from one transparent medium into another transparent medium. So this I can take medium 1, say air. So air is also a medium of gases, mixture of gases, and it is a transparent medium. And here is the glass. This we can call it as medium 2 as glass. So when it travels from one medium to another medium, it appears to be changing its path. Why does it change its path? Answer for this you will get once you learn the properties of this medium. And you might have also observed one more interesting. If you take a glass slab and keep it on the printed matter, the printed matter appears to be raised. appears to be raised. This is also due to the refraction, change of path of light when it travels from glass slab into air. This is what we again term it as refraction. Now this is, let me call this one as PQ. PQ is incident ray. PQ is incident ray, and QR, I will extend this. QR is the ray inside the glass slab, so we call it as QR as refracted ray. The angle made by incident ray with the normal is called as angle of incidence. Angle made by incident ray PQ with the normal. Normal is this n dash. I call this n dash as a normal at the point of incidence. So angle made by incident ray with the normal is called as angle of incidence. Then the angle made by refracted ray. Now I am going to call this QR. QR as the refracted ray. Angle made by refracted ray with the normal is called as angle of refraction. And here, if I draw one more normal where the ray of light is going to emerge, where the ray of light is going to emerge, I am going to call this one as M dash. M dash is another normal. So, interestingly, when you see here, again there is a change of path, change of direction of the light. Change of direction of the light. So I will call this one as RS. So PQ is termed as incident ray. QR is refracted ray. RS is termed as emergent ray. Emergent ray means it is emerging out of the glass. It is emerging out of the medium, different medium glass into the air medium. So this is again medium number 1. That is air. So it is emerging out. So it is called as emergent ray. Now this angle made by emergent ray with the normal is called as angle of emergence. Angle made by the emergent ray with the normal is called as angle of emergence. Now before we go into the details of all these, there are two laws we need to learn. There are two laws, just like the laws which we have learned in the case of reflection. Here is the laws of refraction. Laws of refraction. Just like the first law which we stated in case of reflection. Reflection takes place whenever the medium is, say, almost opaque. If it is a polished surface, then reflection takes place. If it is a glass surface, you see, you will find refraction. So we have studied earlier, whenever light is incident on any medium, three things take place. Partially it is reflected, partially it is transmitted, partially it is absorbed. When it is transmitted, there is change of path of that light. That is what we call it as refraction. When the light gets bounced back, we call it as reflection. When the light gets transmitted through another medium, the change of path of the light takes place. That is called as refraction. Okay. When the refraction takes place, look at this. The incident ray PQ, the refracted ray QR, and the normal drawn at the point of incidence at the interface separating the two media and the interface separating the two media all lie on a single plane. They all lie on a same plane. Look at this once again. The incident ray, refracted ray and the normal drawn at the point of incidence on the interface separating the two media. This is AB. AB is the interface which separates glass medium from the air. All these lie in a single plane. Incident ray, refracted ray and the normal and the interface. This is important. Normal and the interface between two media at the point of incidence. At the point of incidence, light in a same way. Light in the same way. This is called first law of refraction. Second law. Second law is regarding this angle made by incident ray, angle made by refracted ray. The angle made by incident ray, sine of that angle made by incident ray, and the sine of angle of refracted ray. That is what we call as sine of angle of incidence and sine of angle of refraction. If you take the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction, that ratio remains always constant. The ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction for a single pillar ray at the interface. It is not at the interface. Yes. The ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction for a single colored ray means it should be monochromatic ray. Monochromatic means the light having single wavelengths, light having single color is called as monochromatic. So the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction for a single colored ray at the interface separating two media is always constant. Sin I by sin R is always constant. This is the ratio, and this constant depends on the two media which are considered here. The two media in this example are glass and air. The constant differs from medium to medium, and this constant is the property of those two media. So it is always termed as a relative numerical value. It is a relative refractive index. It is called as refractive index. This constant is termed as refractive index, which depends on the two media. The two media. So it is also called as relative refractive index, because this refractive index is not defined only for one particular medium. It is always defined for a pair of medium. For example, here I am defining refractive index of glass with respect to air. Refractive index of glass with respect to air is 1.5. Similarly, refractive index of, suppose, water you take. Refractive index of water with respect to air is 1.33. If you calculate the refractive index of glass with respect to water, it is different again. So, refractive index is the property of these two media. The property of these two media. Next, we are going to learn more about refractive index. Before that, this second law is also called as Snell's law. It is called as Snell's law. It is due to the Dutch astronomer Willy Broad Snellius, a Dutch astronomer and mathematician. So European English people made it short. Instead of calling it as Snellius, it is taken as Snell. So this ratio of sin I to the sin R is equal to refractive index constant is called as Snell's law. Okay. Now, after learning laws of refraction, incident ray, normal, and the refracted ray, and the interface separating the two media, for a single colored ray, it is always, they are all lying on same plane. That is first law. Second law is sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction. The ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is constant, and that constant is called as refractive index. And this refractive index, it is a relative constant. It depends on the two medium. Refractive index cannot be defined for a single medium. It is always defined with respect to another medium. Now we are learning what is the meaning of that refractive index. Refractive index tells you about how much extent a ray of light can bend when it travels from one medium into another medium. When the ray of light bends, you see, it is observed that when a ray of light enters from a less denser medium into more denser medium, then ray of light is found to be bending towards the normal. Okay. In the same way, if the ray of light enters from more denser medium into the less denser medium, then what happens? The ray of light bends away from the normal. So, this extent of bending towards the normal, bending away from the normal, is understood by the value of this refractive index. The extent to which the bending of ray of light the extent to which the bending of ray of light can take place. Inside a transparent medium. Is defined by the term refractive index. It is denoted by N. So in the previous case we have taken refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. I will draw symbolically. If this is a glass slab and if this is a refractive index of a glass, suppose I am writing glass medium as 1, glass medium as 2 and air medium as 1. See, when the ray of light enters from air medium into glass medium, just so that it is bending towards the normal. This is the undeviated ray bending towards the normal. How much it bends towards the normal depends on the refractive index of this denser medium with respect to rarer medium. Okay. Now we always define refractive index as a relative refractive index. It depends on the two media. It depends on the interface separating the two media. The interface separating the two media here is AB. AB is the interface which separates the two media. So here it is given by ratio of speed of light in the rarer medium to the speed of light in the denser medium. If V1 is the speed of light and V2 is the speed of light in the denser medium, then this ratio of speed of light in the rarer medium to the speed of light in the denser medium is called relative refractive index of the denser medium with respect to rarer medium. Speed of light in rarer medium divided by speed of light in the denser medium. V1 is the speed of light in the rarer medium and V2 is the speed of light in the denser medium. This is how we call it as refractive index of denser medium with respect to rarer medium. Denser means thicker medium, rarer means less thicker medium in common terms. But here denser and rarer are with respect to path of light. How the light feels when it enters from one medium into another medium, that is called as the optical density. So another meaning of refractive index is optical density. How much thick is the medium with respect to light? How much thin is the medium with respect to light? That is what we call as optical density. Optical density is nothing to do with mass density. We know what is mass density. Mass per unit volume is called as mass density. For example, the density of air is the density of water. For example, what is density of water? 1 gram per cc. 1 gram per cc. Whereas optical density of water is different. It is 1.33. So optical density is related to the light. How the light feels when it enters from one medium into another medium. So mass density is mass of the matter per unit volume. So optical density is different from mass density. So the refractive index denotes the optical density of that particular matter, that particular medium. For example, I am going to write some of the refractive indices of different medium. For example, refractive index of air, I can write it as Na. It is 1.0003, and this refractive index doesn't have any unit. It's just a number. Then refractive index of water, NW, N to represent refractive index, W, it is 1.33. When I say that this refractive index is a relative term, then what do you mean by refractive index of water? It is always refractive index of water with respect to vacuum. Refractive index of air with respect to vacuum. Refractive index of glass, if I write it as Ng, it is 1.5. Refractive index of glass means it is refractive index of glass with respect to air or vacuum. It is called as refractive index of glass. And these values which I am writing, these are actually called as absolute refractive index. Remember, absolute refractive index. Then the question arises, what do you mean by absolute refractive index? Absolute refractive index is the refractive index of a particular denser medium like water, glass, kerosene or any other oil, turpentine, or even different type of glasses like crown glass, flint glass, ruby, diamond. These are all different transparent medium. So refractive index of that particular denser medium with respect to air or with respect to vacuum is called as absolute refractive index. So you can just write what is absolute refractive index. Okay. Refractive index of any denser medium with respect to vacuum. Refractive index of a denser medium with respect to vacuum is called absolute refractive index. So I have given the examples of refractive index of air. Refractive index of air with respect to vacuum, it is slightly more than that of vacuum, 1.0003. Refractive index of vacuum is taken as 1. Refractive index of water with respect to vacuum or air, 1.33. Refractive index of glass with respect to vacuum is 1.5. Like that, refractive index of turpentine, young turpentine means refractive index of turpentine with respect to vacuum is 1.47. Refractive index of kerosene is 1.44. So now you can compare kerosene with water. When you take kerosene inside water, you know kerosene floats on the surface of water. Why does kerosene float on the surface of water? Because kerosene has a less mass density than water. Being lighter, kerosene being lighter, its mass density is less than water. Therefore, kerosene floats on the surface of water. But you see its optical density. Optical density of kerosene is 1.44, whereas optical density of water is 1.33. It means inside the kerosene, the light bends more than water. So this is the meaning of refractive index and meaning of optical density. Once again, if you take kerosene and water, if you compare kerosene with water, see, kerosene is more denser than water optically. Optical density of kerosene is more than water. So that is the meaning of refractive index. So optical density is nothing to do with the mass density. Optical density is different from mass density. It is related to refractive index, especially absolute refractive index. So I will just give you one example. If speed of light in glass. Okay, speed of light in air. We all know speed of light in air is 3 lakhs kilometer per second. 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. If speed of light in air is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second and refractive index of glass is 1.5, find the speed of light in glass. So I gave you the equation: speed of light in any denser medium with respect to rarer medium. Okay, refractive index is given by speed of light in rarer medium to the speed of light in denser medium. So here refractive index of glass with respect to air becomes speed of light in air divided by speed of light in glass, where C is the speed of light in air and V is the speed of light in glass. So if you take this ratio, that gives you refractive index. So refractive index is given 1.5. C is given 3 into 10 raised to 8. You can very well find out the value of speed of light in glass. Thank you.